What's up, everyone? In today's video, we're going to go over how I find my daily bias pretty much every day to trade the NASDAQ. It's pretty simple, and we're also going to do a trade recap from a trade that I took on Friday, which was about a couple days ago, which you can see on the screen here. But I want to start with how I find my bias because I get this question a lot, actually. And so it's very, very simple. I use a few things. Okay, so I use the daily time frame. I use the 4-hour time frame. But let's start here from top down, basically. I like to use this fair value gap indicator. It just makes it easier for me to see fair value gaps right off the rip. As you can see on the super high time frame, we swept this low down here, which was like a key sell-off day. So we reswept that low, took a bunch of liquidity, and then started displacing up again. And if we go to the weekly, as you can see, it's the same thing. We kept respecting this bullish fair value gap on the weekly, and ever since then, we've just been displacing higher toward new all-time highs. Now, if we go to the 4-hour, and if we zoom in, where is price delivering to? We have this daily gap here and this internal high here, and then we have all-time high up here with stacked liquidity here. So because of this, I'm not going to fight price. I just know that this is bullish. Like, it is very obviously bullish. I mean, we haven't had a huge sell-off day since here. And we have a drawn liquidity above that still hasn't been filled on NASDAQ at least. So I'm not fighting this. So going into the day, I'm zooming into the 5, 15-minute, and hourly time frame, and I'm seeing what pools of liquidity are still sitting in the market, right? I'm going to turn this off for a second. But if we turn on the previous session highs and lows, which is also like a main thing I like to look at, we had Asia session here, London session here, right? Pretty much overnight price action. And I'm looking to be bullish, right? So we swept Asia low, and then we started displacing up here. And above, we have London high, and then we have that daily fair value gap up here. Obviously, that is way too far for my liking. That is over 100 points away from London highs. So for me, going into the session, I want to see if I can get along to London highs, right? So if we go to the 5-minute, pre-market pretty much had a solid trade. I mean, if I traded pre-market, this 5-minute inversion right here would have been your long setup. When we got that close above, you could have longed here, put a stop at the body, and then long toward London. However, I do not trade pre-market. I've taken maybe one pre-market trade ever, but I don't want to do that. So anyways, my bias is toward London highs because we already swept Asia low. And as you saw on the higher time frame, price is obviously bullish. We want to tap this daily fair value gap up here. So I have no reason to be bearish here. So I'm not going to take any bearish setups off the rip unless price starts selling off here right around open. And then we want to go into previous day's low. Then I'd reconsider my bias for the day. But as of now, price is displacing from this internal hourly low, which I marked here. As you can see, we had price come into this bullish hourly fair value gap and respected it. We did not inverse it, did not close below it over here, but we did leave this low. And so price came to re-sweep that low. And then we got some 5-minute bullish price action out of it. So that was an obvious long. And going into pre-market here, or sorry, like 9:25, at this point, I just wait, and I'm going to go on the 1 minute. I'm going to also turn off this indicator because we already have our levels marked here. So what does price do at open? Just completely shoots up and takes out my main draw on liquidity. I'm like, okay, well, it is Friday. Might not get a setup then today, but we still had that daily gap up here. And ES, I can't show it here, but ES also formed equal highs up here with this high here. So we had a bit of an SMT, but I also then saw that we had formed, I'll show you guys, we had formed these two bullish 5-minute fair value gaps here right after open, okay? And if you see these Fibonacci levels here, I pulled that from the low, the swing low here to the swing high here that we just finished forming, okay? And in discount, we have this 5-minute fair value gap. So I'm not too interested in this one because this one is in premium, right? I'm looking at this discounted 5-minute fair value gap. So I want to see price come into that, and we did. I'll rewind. Once we take out London high, we started chopping. So I was like, okay, we're probably not going to get a setup today, which is fine because it's Friday. I don't want to be too risk on. But then we just started dumping, and we very quickly swept the 930 open and the 5-minute fair value gap in discount. Okay, very key. I don't want to be longing in a premium. So when it came into discount, I started looking for potential long opportunities. This 1 minute and this 1 minute were very premium already. So I wanted to see if I can find something on the lower time frame. And we also had this 30-second, which I was honestly looking at, but then we started chopping a bit, and then we formed this 30-second here. So this basically was my cue to enter once we inversed this 30-second fair value gap. And then I wanted to target new high of day because I knew price action on the higher time frame wanted to target this daily gap up here. Okay, so my fill was pretty bad. It was up here, but in reality, it should have been like here. And then I went break even at a 1 minute fair value gap. So like right here. Where's my break even? Okay. So I went break even there, and then we got very quick displacement up from here. And at this point, if you guys saw my trade recap on my shorts tab, then you saw that I was trailing aggressively. That was because we formed this, I'm going to turn this off. We formed this 1 minute order block here, and I did not want to see price trade below this. So at this point, I had trailed my stop up to about a 1.5 R, which is about there. And then I started aggressively trailing as price went higher and higher because we had an SMT with ES somewhere like here. ES had reswept this high while NQ was still lagging behind. So when that happens, some people just like to leave it and leave their break even down here if it wants to come back to break even, whatever. Personally, I like to take something off the table, especially if we're at least at a 1-to-1. So that's when I like to trail my stop pretty aggressively. But that's a discretionary thing you guys will learn over time with experience. But because we had that SMT and we had this order block that I wanted to see hold, then I trailed here, and then I started trailing more aggressively as we got these more bullish closes toward the high, which was my main target. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That was the long on Friday. And later on in the session, we did start moving more toward that daily gap, but we ended up front running it by, I don't know, like 10 points. And then we ended up selling off from what I remember. So that'll probably be a target for next week, probably early in the week. And then if we take this out early in the week, then we're probably going to be a bit bearish on the higher time frame to rebalance this entire move up right here. So from this low to here, I wouldn't be surprised if we did something like this and then continue toward all-time high, right? So yeah, that's pretty much how I find my bias every single day. I use fair value gaps, inversions, and then I use session liquidity. I use these indicators, and that's it. It's super, super simple. You want to start with the higher time frame and just move down. But yeah, hope that was easy to understand. If you guys have any questions, let me know. But otherwise, see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.